Now, I love potatoes in all forms. In fact, it's my dream career to quit everything and just tour the world, sampling potatoes, all forms, all types. And here comes somebody whose passion or rather whose dedication is in the same field, pretty much, yeah? So yeah, I'm so grateful for this platform because I get to interact with people like Felista. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Please introduce yourself and what it is that you do.
Yeah, my name is Felista Kiundo from a company called Mzizi. It's a startup. We're working with smallholder farmer in the potato value chain across sub-Saharan Africa. But at the moment, we are piloting in Kenya to see how far our app goes.
Okay, awesome. So you're working with Mzizi Foundation or just Mzizi?
It's Mzizi app. It's Mzizi application technology. Okay, it's a. If I explain what Mzizi is,
yes, please explain.
We are a group of young people focusing on smallholder farmers, and when I say smallholder farmers, anything that involves a smallholder farmer, the market, the inputs, anything that the actors. And what we offer to the farmers mostly is the application, Mzizi application, which is not yet ready, going to market in the next 2 months. It's more of a private enterprise rather than our foundation. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So why potatoes? Why is this the crop you chose to focus on?
Well, first of all, potato is second mostly consumed product in Kenya. And when we go globally, we are at number 3, number 4 there. And you see, it's something that maybe Gen Z is embracing so much, eating chips and fries every other day. And I would say it's something that can feed a lot of people. Yeah, so that is why we chose potato, because we believe there's so much that is not explored in potato. Yeah.
Awesome. So how exactly does Mzizi come in, especially when you're talking about the farmers? We have successful farmers in Kenya, in Africa, and we also have people farm. Potato farming has been going on for a hot minute. From large-scale farmers to small-scale farmers, everyone is doing it. So what exactly is the role of Mzizi when it comes to farmers and their product?
Yeah, so when we talk about the farmer and the products, we are talking about a farmer in Nyandarua, maybe, who doesn't have access to market. And we are also talking about a buyer in Nairobi or a processor in Nairobi who doesn't have an exact place to get maybe the quality or the standard of the product they are looking for. Maybe they are searching for a specific variety of potatoes. And now that is where Mzizi comes in. We help this farmer grow a specific variety of potatoes depending on the market demands and ensure that they have accurate records of what they are growing. They are not like just waking up one day and then deciding, oh, Shangi goes well in the market. No, we do a lot of research. Our framework is mostly based on research, and thanks to people like CIP and other partners like NCPK, CARO, that always gives us material to base our research on. So we are able to maybe advise the farmer how to grow their products and make sure once the product is grown at a certain standard, it can reach both international markets and better local markets. Yeah.
Awesome. And we do have a lot of fast food restaurants, especially in Nairobi, who import their potatoes when we have so much going on. So is that a solution you're offering to farmers?
Yeah, basically that is one of the major solutions that our application, the Mzizi app, has. There's a dashboard that a farmer can access to have his or her records, and to avoid that, what is it called, confusion of outsourcing from outside, and our farmers are suffering from post-harvest losses. We would rather train them on to produce what is best for our market, like the local markets. So as much as we blame it on the farmer, also are these companies that we work with, also the processors, the fast foods, we encourage them so much to make sure they give the specific parameters, because Mzizi is having this structured place that fits all the farmer. It's like a one-stop shop for the farmers and the off-takers. So if you're coming and just telling me I need potatoes, and then I deliver to you, and then you don't like them, that is a problem.
True.
Yeah, so we are making sure the farmer understands and the buyer understands, so that they can meet at the center.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. And what exactly was, or rather, what was the origin story for Mzizi? How did you realize that there's a gap in the market? There's a structure that is needed for, you know, a seamless environment for the farmer and for the people who are interested in the products. How exactly did you come up with the idea? You're the co-founder, so I'm figuring you partnered with somebody else.
Yeah.
How exactly did this come about?
Well, as I said earlier, Mzizi is potato-based, but of course we'll focus on other value chains. But when it comes to now potato, of course, the people I work with, we met in potato forums. And for me, the major discussion was, why is this value chain so unstructured? We are suffering post-harvest. We are suffering loss of total yield. We are suffering a lack of the product in the market, but we produce so much. And then we sat down, started discussing the various ways in which we can maybe work together towards achieving that. But majorly for me, what inspired me into working with potatoes is how people perceive the information whenever I tell them, you know, I work with potatoes. They are assuming I'm on top of a lorry hawking potatoes, saying waru mia mia mia, and that is not the case.
Yeah.
So that is one. Number two, I once worked with a consultant, or I was a consultant for a different company, and in a week we lost goods, potato yields worth 2 million in just 1 week, and I was so devastated about the whole issue because it just got rotten. We didn't do much due diligence before we delivered it into the store. So I had like to sit back and evaluate like what went wrong. And I realized we didn't have the records of these farmers. So you can't even go back to them and tell them, you know, the potatoes that you gave me were substandard.
Yes.
So like that is one of the things that I really wanted to tackle. And also the last thing that inspired me into looking into potatoes is because of the rejection I faced from especially processors. You deliver quantities worth millions, and then they tell you, no, we've done sampling, but we can't take your produce because it has this and this and this. And they are right. So to start or to focus on that, I had to look at the farmer and also look at the buyer.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is really, you know, it makes sense when you put it like that. And you've talked about pre-farming and post-harvest. What exactly are these things? Because for the regular person, I'm just thinking pre-farming is tilling my land. I farm, I get my product, and then I sell it to the consumer. But what exactly is post-harvest and pre-farming?
When we talk about production of potatoes or production of any crop, there are two things as Mzizi which we insist on. One, as the first step, you have to do your gross margin analysis as the first step. You have to know how much it will take you to produce 1 acre or 1 kg of potatoes. And number two, you have to have a cropping calendar. You have to know that I want to produce potatoes for the next season. These are the activities that are involved in potato production. So on your cropping calendar, you will have all the activities. And after you have done your gross margin analysis and you have a cropping calendar, the next thing you do is land preparation. Of course, between land preparation, you'll involve soil analysis, and then you go to maybe fertilizer planting, fertilizer application, and then you'll also do your market survey around that period to be sure that you have the best market and to be sure that the people you're selling to are competing for you, and you're not just selling to them. And lastly, you have to do the harvesting. And then post-harvest management involves sorting of the cuts, the rotten, the unshaped, and such kind of things, and then proper storage to ensure that your potatoes don't go bad in a day or two.
Awesome.
Yeah.
This all sounds like news to me. You know, I'm just used to being on the receiving end of all of this, but clearly it takes a lot of work to come up with these products. Yeah. Now you have equipped the farmer with all of these things. You've given them knowledge. You've provided content for what is working. You've given them ideas on the best potato to actually plant so that they can, you know, sell to people who are interested. You've given them information of the quality that is expected. So they have all of this information and they are implementing it. But the thing is, there are always cartels and there are always people who are trying to make the best out of every situation. So let's use an example of Kenya. Sometimes potatoes, I can't remember the last time when potatoes were cheap. Potatoes are always expensive and it always seems like it's at an upward angle. There's always an increase. They never go back to the original price, even when potatoes are plenty. So what exactly is a solution for this kind of situation? Because from my point of view as a consumer who is not involved directly with the farmer and the processing plants, it's me who is suffering because somebody has hiked the price and there's nothing I can do about it. What's a solution that Mzizi could offer for such a thing?
Yeah, that one is a good one. And I'll start by saying that for the farmers that we work with, we have grouped them into communities. We have the socials, but we also have a specific WhatsApp group where we conduct our trainings. And apart from that, we have something else called harvest shading. So we are able to maybe map out the farmers that their produce are ready, and we match them with the other off-takers who are meeting their maybe prices. But when it comes to brokers, they are our brothers and we love them, but exploitation is only on the consumer end of it. But when it comes to the farmer, they're also being very, very exploited. So as Mzizi, we insist like on working on maybe the 15,000 farmers who are in our community. We insist on linking them with the best people that can give them affordable prices, yes, to break even, but also ensuring that they are not exploiting the people that they are buying from them. So it's coming into an agreement that this is the far you can go. Of course, we've matched with the person. Whatever business you do is not a problem, of course, but there are those parameters that guide such kind of transactions. Outside the unstructured market, I can't talk much about it because it's still in the process of having a structured approach towards the value chain. Something else you mentioned about price fluctuations. You find in the peak season, we have a lot of potatoes, and then within a month we don't have potatoes. This is associated to a lack of storage facilities, like the cold stores. Cold store is something we are looking for, maybe a partner who can offer such services to the farmers to make the price uniform. Because if I have a cold, we as a group, maybe of farmers, we have a certain place where we can always store our potatoes. That means we can sell them next month, the other month, depending on the dormancy period of the potatoes. Because different varieties have different dormancy period. When I talk about dormancy, I mean they sprout at different rates. So we are looking for partners maybe who can work on storage and post-harvest management to make the price a bit standard for all the farmers, all the and consumers.
Okay. What would you say, in your expert opinion, is the best potato for farmers to be planting, or is in highest demand?
Well, to start with, potatoes have different uses. And there are those that can be semi-processed. There are those that are specific to processing. And depending on the company, for example, the crisping and chips, they prefer the Marquis or the Dutch Robin. And there is another one called Mantou. When it comes to chips and table, meaning the likes of Mukimo and what have you, they prefer the other local varieties. But still, Shangi is good for chips, although the sugar levels are a bit high, and then the absorption of oil is high. So I don't have a specific variety that I can recommend, but the few that I've mentioned are good if the farmer decides to follow the right production method.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry, you wanted to say something. You had mentioned about Mzizi being a startup, but at the same time, you've also mentioned a community of close to 15,000 farmers. So that's really good reception. But how was the initial reception? Because I'm thinking people are very stuck in their ways. They have systems in place that sometimes work for them, and there's what is familiar to them. So for you to come to them and say, hey, I have a better system for you and this is how it works. How was the initial reception to Mzizi?
One thing, we work with serious people. Like, we need farmers to pull up their socks. You can't call me to your farm to tell me, maybe I have this problem, but I already recommended you to do soil analysis and you've not done it. So what we focus with mostly when it comes to farmers and reception of our product. Of course, I mentioned the app is not yet in the market. It's going to the market in 2 months, but we have other things that we are using to communicate with the farmers, like the community now. What happens mostly is we work with farmer groups, organized farmer groups, the producer organizations, the cooperatives and what have you, that are organized, and they know we meet on this day and we talk business. So that is how we've been doing it. Like, we identify maybe producer organizations in a certain county, maybe Nyandarua, maybe Nakuru, Bomet. And then after that, we organize or call for events and training. And then after that, we train. And then whoever is willing to do business and get mentored, because partly the farmer benefits mostly from mentorship most of the time. If you're willing to go that further step as a group, as an individual, we take you through it. But mostly we focus on the serious farmers who are willing to do farming is not a way of life, but as business.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, when you're going to pitch yourself to somebody, or when you want to provide your services or solutions to someone who is in need, they want to know, what have you done, what qualifies you, and what knowledge do you have? So did you have a background in either farming or IT, or how exactly did you equip yourself to provide this information and solutions to others?
Well, I have a degree in agriculture. To be specific, I did animal production. That is what I majored in after maybe some years. But of course, due to, I had a problem with my chest when it came to premixes. So I had to shift on the part of crop production. Now that is how I found myself in potato production. But mostly it's because I have loved farming since I was a small person. And I've also grown in farming areas. Yeah.
Okay. I think briefly we had mentioned about collaborations with other people, but could you please elaborate the different companies or people or foundations that you collaborate with? Because it's one thing to have all of this data, and it's one thing to have all of this information, but for you to build a community, you need to work with a lot of people to actually make this, you know, like real-time information working in the real-time market. So who do you collaborate with?
First of all, we're working with National Potato Council of Kenya closely, and we are also working with the International Center of Potato, CIP, and they are majorly mentor us into this. But also on the other side, we have people like Yelda. Yelda is a Dutch company, but based in Kenya. They empowers, how can I put it? We do joint trainings and such kind of things with these other organizations. So for example, let me give you a practical example. I want to talk about inputs, but I don't know much about inputs. But I know Yara has a forum tomorrow that talks about inputs. So what we do, we look for these kind of partners and then have joint trainings. Yes, we'll come as Mzizi to do this and this and this, and leave Yara to do their part. So those are some ways, in some ways, how we do the trainings. And then apart from the physical, we do the virtual with other companies too. Like recently, we did one with Ria Africa. It's a soil testing company where we were talking about how you can, what is required for a farmer when it comes to soil health in potato production. So we do both virtual and physical with these partners that we work with. There are many, yeah, especially on the part of trainings and of taking, and input provision, whatever active actors in the value chain of potatoes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have mentioned that the challenges that are faced by most farmers, and in the production of potatoes, is storage facilities, there's exploitation of the farmer. But can we specify on the challenges that Mzizi faces, especially when you're coming into the market and you're trying to provide solutions for all of these people? What exactly are you trying and it's just not working for you?
Well, I think the major one would be organizing these people into groups and not relying on the groups that exist. So apart from that, farmers, I think smallholder farmers are very receptive. And then the number 2 challenge is you see we have a smartphone app. And most of the farmers you find are between they're above 60, most of them, that have big tracts of land.
Technology is a challenge.
Yeah, technology and digitizing the whole process has become a challenge. But we are hoping that with time that we'll be able maybe to have something where we can, of course we're doing the trainings and we encourage a lot of youths to do the same. But the major challenge is that maybe the farmer has a smartphone but doesn't know how to maybe check the weather updates, maybe doesn't know how to open or download the Mzizi app. And that is, I think, the most challenging part, the digital literacy. And then the last one is on financial literacy. The farmer doesn't understand why they need the records. You don't know you need the records for better markets.
True.
You don't know you need the records for grants, for loan facilities. So those are some of the things that you need to sit down this farmer and make them understand why they need to keep their records straight, why they need to maybe have the app on their phone. But mostly, I think the major one is digitalizing the whole process.
Yeah.
And number 2 is making sure that they have the financial knowledge that they need.
Okay. And since the inception of Mzizi, what would you say is a success story for you guys? Or what is confirmation that what you're doing is actually working in the market? Because it's one thing to have this structure in place. It's one thing for it to work in theory and look very good in a presentation. But when it comes to the practicality of it, do you have a success story?
Yeah, true. Remember, at the back of my mind, I know the app is not ready, but we have a running web and other things that we use. You find that farmers are booking for maybe a physical visit, a virtual visit, a group visit, and such kind of things. On this other end of the actors, you find certain partners are reaching out to you for collaborations with that, such kind of things. But the most successful part of it all is you find farmers want you to help them sell their products. And it tells you that you're doing something, and we've succeeded in selling maybe close to 10 tons, 20 tons of potatoes through a formal market. Remember, as we try to empower farmers to do their production, the end result is to have a formal market for their produce. So if you achieve that as Mzizi, we are able to know, as much as we are not like directly involved in the work, we are also doing something that is impactful for the farmer.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they'll ask you, where do I take my potatoes? But if you're able to point 1 to 3 people, then you're happy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So let me put you on the spot a little bit. Now, recently, the First Lady of our country decided to make a statement and say that, you know, our neighboring country, Uganda, is very fertile because of revival and prayers. But you, on your end, you're working on soil testing, soil sampling, and you're putting in the work when it comes to the fertility of the land. So what exactly was your opinion when, when she made that statement?
It's like you can say if you cut your finger and then pray for it, it will heal. No, it doesn't work that way. I believe our soil is bad because of excessive use of chemicals, and you need to do something about it. I wouldn't agree. I feel like she offended us.
Yeah. You felt the offense.
Yeah, offense taken, 100%.
Okay, and we have talked about how the app will be ready in 2 months.
Yeah.
But apart from that, what are the future, you know, plans for Mzizi in collaboration with the farmers and the processing plants and just the consumers in general?
Just to mention, we are trying to we are working in Kenya, yes, but we also have a partnership, or we are trying to replicate the same to Madagascar as part of our pilot. Yeah, we did an assessment pilot in Madagascar last year, and we are trying very hard to make sure that whatever we are doing in Kenya is replicated there. So as a future development plan, Mzizi is scaling up to other countries to replicate the same with a name of being a self-sufficient nation and being able to also earn a lot of money from this. At the end of the day, we're not thinking about not having money, but it's being sustainable in terms of food and being able to earn something out of that production process. So we are scaling up to other countries. We are scaling up to actors maybe in the international perspective of it. And I would say those are our major plans.
Awesome. As we come to the end of our interview, do you feel like there's something we've not mentioned that is really pressing on you that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, of course. When it comes to Mzizi, we have 2 different modules that we use to handle the farmers and to make also the B2B matchmaking more profitable. So I would love to explain just in 2 minutes what we do. So when it comes to matchmaking, we ensure we have a good number of farmers that we're working with, but they are lacking something. And on this other end, we have service providers or actors in the potato value chain that are lacking something. For B2B to be successful on our end, we are asking all the genuine people in the potato value chain to come and be on our board to help us structure the potato value chain by providing something that is relevant to the farmers. Remember, we are providing you accurate parameters from our farmers. Come with your accurate parameters in terms of processing and such kind of things. For any farmer who wants to join our community, you're welcome. You can always check us out.
Okay, and where are they checking you out? Are you on social media? You also said you have a web platform.
Yeah. So for our social media, LinkedIn, X, and Facebook, all Mzizi. And then we have a physical office at GTC next to Kempiski, 14th floor, Spaces office. It's our co-working space. That is where you can always find us. If you want to maybe schedule something, you can look at mzizi.app on our web, so it will direct you, or you can just write Mzizi potato. If you write Mzizi potato, you will find us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Felista. You can see she's working very hard to make sure that the quality of potatoes that get to your table are just the best quality. Thank you so much for coming and having that conversation with us. If you are a farmer or you need, products, reach out to Felista and she'll direct you where you need to go. My name is Turife, and until next week, goodbye.